evening and welcome back to Evolution News. Tonight, as anticipated, we are covering the evolution of the horse. Tall or short, black or white, lean or robust, the horse historically in its relation to man has evolved from a mode of transport and beast of burden to a respected animal for riding in recreation and sport.
Scientifically, the evolutionary lineage of the horse is one of the most well documented in paleontology. Their existence dates back to an estimated 56 million years ago, a time when the first ancestral horse called the Eohippus appeared, that eventually evolved into the Equus. This was achieved by an evolutionary process known as punctuated equilibrium. Based on a theory stating that species originate too rapidly to enable their origins to be traced by paleontologists and then persist unchanged through geological time in stasis. Fossils found in North America and Europe depicted the animal in its Eohippus form, or initial form. It was an animal that stood at 42.7 to 50.8 centimetres, the size of a small dog, minute in comparison to the American quarter horse who we know and love today, which stands at approximately 157 centimetres. Dissimilar in comparison to the modern equine species, the Eohippus adapted an arched back and irregularly shaped hooves as a result of its surrounding environment of woodland in North America, and the requirement for it to maneuver in dense forest. Additionally to the small stature of the Eohippus, it sported a considerably smaller muzzle, comparable to the long iconic muzzle of its successor, resulting in a significantly different dentition. The Eohippus was almost so unhorse-like, it seemed borderline impossible to comprehend that it has evolved into the stature that it stands at today.
56 million years ago, the higher ridges of the teeth of the horse evolved due to a change of diet. This was in turn due to a change of climate and a decrease in temperature that replaced the lush fruits and forests available to drier grasses and plains. This evolving dental structure in the horse can be attributed to a strong natural selection, as outlined by Batchelor in 2011, which is evident in the alteration of the horse's teeth. Due to the change in diet of the horses, it was found that their hypsodont teeth required more jaw space in order to process and chew larger quantities of grass, in order to substitute for the nutrition of its previous diet, so extending the horse's muzzle signified evolution. Additionally, a decrease in temperature led to the horse species, or more specifically in this time, the Eohippus, experiencing a diversification of alleles as a result of mutations.
Mutations occur when chromosomes paired up for division can cross over and transfer parts of themselves to another. Or, alternatively, errors in duplication can occur leading to a genetic typo and a new combination of DNA. The changing characteristics, or alleles as they are called, can lead to some animals to be better suited to their environment, who subsequently thrive and breed to larger numbers than their opposing species, therefore evolving in appearance. The role of mutation in the evolution of the horse took place by altering genes by chance to lengthen the horse's teeth. This advantageous form of horse could eat more grass and thrive over horses with the original dentition. Originally, the horse's dentition featured a short, crowned, and cement-lacking structure. With assistance through mutations, a significant difference in horse teeth occurred, forming the modern horse's long, crowned, cement-covered molars. This mutation most likely occurred as the temperatures dropped and the climate changed the vegetation and led to denser grasslands and the requirement for horses to ingest tougher plants that contained silica, which subsequently wore their teeth down, leading to the requirement of longer, cement-covered molars. These newly evolved horses then had an advantage in the ability to ingest the new diet of grass and so grew in numbers over the precedent form. Throughout the course of the horse's evolution, in order to avoid predators and be the preferred mate for the female, the species adapted longer limbs. Through the process of natural selection and directional selection, horses who were unable to run fast enough to avoid predators within the American Sierras were selected against. Specifically, directional selection occurred as the horse evolved from being a small animal built for maneuvering through woodlands to the build required for speed in open grasslands. The evolution of the horse favoured the directional selection of an animal with longer legs, and therefore ultimately directed the equine species into meadow runners. Additional research has found links between an increased emittance of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and oceans as a result of increase in temperature, causing a reduction in the size of the horse.
Now, this piece of information is crucial and can suggest that their increase in size can be attributed to a drop in temperature that catalyzed mutations in the limbs of the horse that favoured taller and longer alleles. This parallels with the evolution of the horse's dentition, suggesting these two adaptations were concurrent.
5,000 years ago, during the agricultural revolution, as he himself settled into less nomadic lifestyle, man harnessed the horse to help with farming and transport, beginning the long association between man and horse, or domestication. Once the horse was controlled by humans, artificial selection by the selective breeding of the more desirable horse types occurred for these domesticated animals.
We've just received news that it can also be suggested non-random mating can also have occurred with wherein similar size phenotypes breed together, so establishing a herd of their own size. This is a process by which man breeds animals and consequently is classed as artificial selection. Now we're heading over to Sabine Priestley, who has the latest on the future of the horses. Over to you, Sabine. Thanks, Sabine. Extending this hypothesis that temperature changes lead to evolution in wild horses, it can be argued that global warming is an imminent threat for the majority of the species. As a result of increasing warmth, a loss of valuable habitat, i.e. grass plains, and a greater risk of natural disasters can occur. As sources of food for wild horses diminish and the soil becomes drier and less equipped to retain nutrients, animals cannot thrive. This can alter the horse's diet dramatically and potentially lead to a minor natural selection, or more specifically, stabilizing selection, where horses who cannot maintain a healthy diet and source alternate sustenance are eradicated, causing a survival disadvantage. It can also be predicted that as a result of the changing dietary requirements, horses may resort to denser woodland areas, like the ones the Eohippus used to roam, as it is predicted tree lines will advance in the event of increased global warming, and therefore the horses may exhibit a step back in dentition. This suggests their molars may again become short, crowned, with little cement protecting the tooth in order to accommodate for their softer diet. Subsequently, this could mean their muzzle will minimize over the time to that of the equus ancestors. This change may occur as a result of chance mutations that better equip their dentition for lush vegetation and consequently cause directional selection that is for the horses who can ingest the alternative diet.
Despite being subject to climate change, feed can be supplemented by owners of domesticated horses, and furthermore can allow for consistency in alleles, such as long crown teeth. Selective breeding in eliminating horses with clear genetic issues will allow for a consistent breed of horse that is equipped to endure change in environment.
However, on the contrary, it can be expected a reduction in the size of the horse is as a result of gradual increasing temperatures from global warming and increased emittance of carbon dioxide, and the requirement for horses to manoeuvre through woodland, and therefore mutations and natural selections may take their course in advantaging smaller horses who have seen mutations result in shorter limbs. This can also be applied to wild horses as a result of the time for tonight. I'm Sabine Priestley and you're watching Evolution News.